Hello, hi everyone. I almost started in Dutch because before this interview I talked Dutch with Rika. But no, we'll keep it in English because that's better to understand for all of you. Rika, I'll give you the opportunity to introduce yourself later on, but I always start with my first question, and that is, what are your thoughts about aging healthily?
I think this is a very interesting question, and I think I'm also the right person to ask that question to, because I really am one of those people that has no issues with aging. And it doesn't mean that I'm not aging, because I am, but I do feel like I become better by getting older on many, many levels. So I don't mind getting like the hanging stuff a little bit. Um, and I also feel like health-wise, like I have to do some stuff. I have to start drinking water, which I never did in my life. And so I have to start doing some exercise, which I hate. I really don't like exercise. So, and I feel like my body needs it. I have to do this. So aging is something that is part of life. And I think every stage in life has its beauty. And so I'm 55 years old now, and I'm a grandmother. So what do I expect? I cannot be a grandmother and also like fight being older, because one doesn't match up with the other. So I think it is very important to just understand that aging is part of life, and that the number, it's just a number. It's how you feel. And with aging, a lot of amazing things are happening. You get more, like, I feel like I'm way more relaxed. I'm not saying I'm a relaxed person, but I'm more relaxed than what I was when I was in my 20s. I have different struggles. I have different challenges, but I also, I'm also wiser. I have more experience. And so I like to look at the bright side of aging. Yeah. So I'm in half of my life, but I said that when I was 40, when I was 50, by 55, I'm always halfway. So that's my take on aging. And I really feel like as getting older, we have so much more to offer.
Yeah. So it's so great that is your way of thinking. And well, you already explained what you are doing now, drinking more water and exercising more.
I can give a whole list of all the things I'm doing now, but I mean, one step at a time.
Yeah, and well, it's just great if you are aware of the process and working on it. So yeah, that's marvelous. I said you would get a possibility to introduce yourself. The topic is being an expat, but you're not only an expat. So please tell us what you do and well, why you ended up in New York, of all places.
Okay, yeah, of all places. Well, let me say this first. If somebody would have told me like 11 years ago that I would end up in New York, I would have thought that they were out of their minds.
Oh, really?
There was no way that I would be in the United States of America. To be honest with you, I was very prejudiced. I didn't like Americans. I thought they were I had the idea like an American was the one with the camera in front of their belly, and then like going abroad and then going through Europe and then do it in 3 days and think that they saw everything. That was the idea. And I have to admit, I was totally wrong. So let me put that already out of the way. So I'll begin with the beginning. So I'm born and raised in Belgium, in Antwerp. I was I think I was a normal, when I grew up, I was in a normal environment. My father was a banker. My mother stayed home. I'm the oldest of 8. I went through life very normal. I'm a dietitian, by the way, so that's what I studied for. I'm not doing that much anymore. But that's not even true. We'll get into that. So I had a lot of careers in my life. I started off as a dietitian, having my own practice, helping people losing weight. And so the first year was wonderful. The second year was great. The third year, the people from the first year came back because they gained even more weight than what they had when they came the first time. So they started all over again. And again, with success, whatever. And the fifth year, they came back. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. This is not what I want to do. And my father said, what are you talking about? They come back. They're happy. They like you. I'm like, yeah, but this cannot be not my life. So then I started working in the hospital environment, and I became I worked in the catering. So I was responsible for all the meals in the hospital, and I grew, and I really had like a very nice career, 15 years in healthcare.
In Antwerp as well.
No, it was in like a little bit outside of Antwerp. I worked for a group of hospitals, and I was responsible for the kitchen, and later on also a little part of housekeeping and other stuff. So I was doing like the household of the hospital a little bit. So when my youngest is born, I have 5 children. So when my youngest was born, which she's now 17, I decided that I needed a change in careers. So at that point, I think I was 38. Yeah, 38. I'm now 55. And I decided that I wanted something different and be more with my children. So I went back to school in the evening and I became a beautician. And so at that point, I built out in my house like a beauty salon, and I help people not only like it was more like a health center. So we also had like meditations, and we helped people like in general with health. Like there was guest speakers, that kind of stuff. So because I'm a very busy person, being on my own in my little salon wasn't good enough. So I started teaching. So I was teaching beauticians, skincare, like the high-end facials. That's what I was into. I loved it. I also worked with the natural side. I always liked to balance the natural side of stuff with the science. So I was always like, I was never really into the whole holistic stuff alone. I also had always like the
knowledge,
conventional stuff like with it. And so I try to balance those two. I always feel like if you go too far in one direction, you lose it. That's my opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but it's just how I feel, I don't want to, this is me. So I became a beautician, then I started teaching. Then I wanted to work with mineral makeup. At that time, it wasn't such a thing. So there was only one little tiny brand in Belgium. And I decided that I wanted a specific brand. And that brand was not available in Europe. So I decided to become the wholesaler. So it was a company from Denver. And I also started a wholesale company. So life was good, So then I ended up with a divorce, which was a good thing. And there's no negativity in there. My ex-husband is like the nicest person you're ever gonna meet. We're very good friends. We are like, people sometimes ask, why did you have a divorce? But that's for another story, for another time with a bottle of wine. But so I think the bottom line was that we just had different visions in life and
different paths.
Let's put it that way. Exactly. It's really what it is. It was nothing adversarial. There was no drama. We had a divorce online for 400 euros. So, that was it. I'm just saying, it can be easy. You don't have to go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was studying Kabbalah because it's like the esoteric stuff of Judaism. And I really liked that. I really enjoyed the teachings. I was very interested. I learned a lot about it. And I got involved in the Kabbalah Center, which is an organization that is like spreading Kabbalah around the world. Fine. And they had international events. So now you hear where the thing is coming. On one of the international events, I met my husband now, and we met in Dallas, Texas, of all places. And he came from New York, and I came from Belgium, and we met. Okay. Then a couple months later, there was another event. We met again. Okay. And then a couple of months later, we met again. When he asked me to, like, what they would say, that he asked me on a date. So we had a glass of wine together and blah, blah, and the rest is history. So the first 2 years, I was traveling back and forth a lot. We were figuring it out if this was going to work. We spoke about all the possibilities. That he's a dentist, lived in Manhattan, had his own practice as a couple.
He did to come to Belgium, probably.
Yeah, we tried to see if there was a possibility, because with my 5 children, what was I gonna do? I had my 5 babies in Belgium, and they were not like, and also I had a good relationship with their father. I couldn't take them away from their father. That wouldn't be nice. It was me that wanted to date the dentist in Manhattan, you know? So my kids in the beginning, they said, okay, you just go. We're fine. They were older. And that's not true, because I still had a 6-year-old at the time. And so we started traveling back and forth. And then we decided that we wanted to get married. And then I came to the United States and I lived here. All my kids were at that time still in Belgium. 2 years later, I was traveling. I was 2 weeks here, 2 weeks in Belgium. 2 weeks here, 2 weeks in Belgium. So I did the 2 week thing. Until the United States of America told me, this is not going to happen anymore. If you go now, you're not coming back in.
Oh, really?
Yes. So then I had to really get everything in, like, you have to stay put for a while. So I had to stay in the country for at least, like, I had to apply for a green card. And in the meantime, while you're waiting for that green card, you have to stay put. So I didn't see my kids for 8 months. No, that's not true. In the meantime, they came for a week. Like 1 week they visited me, but it was hard.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Even though they were very good with their father, thank God. I could have never done that if there was like any struggle or strife or negativity, but that wasn't there. So that was fun. That was good. And then 2 years later, my 2 youngest decided that they wanted to live with me. Not that they wanted to live with me. That was not what this was about. I have to be honest about that. They just wanted to come to the United States. Once I got my green card, my youngest, my baby, she was 7 or 8. No, how old was she then? I think she probably must have been 9 or 10 at the time. And she says, I want a green card. She says, if you want, and I told her, I said, if you want a green card, you will have to come and live here. She says, okay, I'm coming. And because she came, her sister, who's 6 years older, because this little one was like a little behind everybody else, she says, if she's doing this, I'm going to do this. And she was 16 at the time. So that was a big step.
But they both were still at school.
Both at school. So I got one here in 6th grade that started in 6th grade. She didn't speak one word of English.
Oh, really?
First day of school, I asked, she was always frustrated if we spoke English and she didn't understand it. Oh, so frustrating. And then, so she came here and I asked her after the first day of school, I said, how was school? She says, I have no idea. She didn't understand a word. We are making fun of it now, and the teachers, but they both do well now. It's all good. It's a wonderful thing. So I'm working now in the dental practices. I'm the manager. I do back what I did in the hospitals. But of course, I also do a lot of, I cannot do just one thing. It's not my nature. So I do a lot, and I have a good time. So that's the story. Long story. Sorry, I hope I didn't lose anybody.
No, not me, because
Good.
I like what I hear. I think we have one who is looking now live. I can't see here who it is, but that's very nice.
Hi. That's watching.
Yeah. No, I loved hearing your story, and I wonder, because you have 5 children of yourself, you have 3 children that are stepchildren.
I have 3 stepchildren. Yes, I do. They all live in Manhattan.
Okay, they are close by.
Yeah.
So how is the relationship with all those children at the moment? Because you're a couple of years later now.
Okay, so the way it went was a little interesting, because my husband is 12 years older than me, but his children, they fit in my children's ages. So first it's one of his children, and then 1 year apart, one of mine, then one of his, one of mine, one of his, and then 2 of mine. So they fit, the ages are very similar, but that's the only thing they have in common. So it's 2 complete different worlds. So if I would say my dream would have been, and also my husband's dream, let's bring like one big happy family, that it happened. I have to be honest, it just didn't happen.
Okay.
These people are completely, they're New Yorkers. They're very
World-wise, probably.
no, not at all. My kids are world travelers. My kids are the ones who are out there. They live in this little Manhattan world that's very corporate. There are 2 lawyers, like 1 lawyer. They're doing great. They have amazing careers. They are like on top of the world. But they are in the Manhattan lifestyle, which I necessarily don't really like. It's not my it's not what I would prefer, and I'm happy that my kids don't live that life, but they're very happy about that. So it's like, I call a spade a spade. That's me. So I can admit that this is not it's not my lifestyle to be in the rat race. Like, they get up and they work extremely hard. Like, there's nothing. People in Manhattan are fast. They work an enormous amount of hours. They are very driven. They are like, it's Wall Street, You see, that's exactly what it is. That's the lifestyle. And so they are not that worldly, in my opinion. I think my kids are world travelers. My son, he travels all over. He's everywhere. He's not really money driven. He should be a little bit more, but he's not. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they're totally different kids, and they get along when we put them together, but they will not look for each other's company.
They won't be friends apart from their parents.
Exactly. Yeah. So they like each other. They respect each other. There is nothing negative there, but there is also not like the bonding, or it's just not there.
Yeah. I'm amazed that people from Manhattan sort of live in their bubble, where you would expect that other people would live in a bubble, and that they would be open to the world.
And again, whatever I'm saying, whatever comes out of my mouth is my opinion. And people could listen to this and say, "Oh my God, what is she? Like, she's in her own world," which maybe is true. But that's my experience with the people. Manhattan is a very tough place to live. It is extremely competitive. Living in Manhattan is almost not, like, it is so expensive that you, like, for a lot of people, for us in the dental practice, to find people that work at our reception or in the back office, like the just the regular people,
Mm-hmm.
they have to live like an hour and a half outside of Manhattan, or they cannot afford to have a place to live, and also like they have to pay the rent. The rent in Manhattan is like, it's like through the roof.
Mm.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So competitive.
Yeah. It's something you hear from a lot of big cities that let's call it the normal people can't live there because of the prices, which is a pity.
It's a shame. Like it's a huge thing. You know, I think if you want to have, if you, let's say you're a couple with 2 children, you need like an apartment with at least 2 bedrooms, but preferably 3. You will have to pay somewhere between $5,000 and $8,000 a month in rent, and then you have like a little tiny apartment. So
Wow.
in order to afford that, you have to be in the game, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very tough, very
Yeah.
tough to.
Something else, because this was about your children, but you told me that you also have 3 grandchildren. Are they, in which continent are they?
So I have five grandchildren.
5
Four,
Oh, sorry.
I gave you the wrong information. I don't know. So I have 4 boys and 1 girl, and the girl is in the middle. So the oldest is 5, and the youngest is born in April. So he's going to be like 7 months or something. So they all live in Belgium.
Okay.
None of them are here. So my babies are on the other side of the world. And it's the hardest thing. Like, having my children over there is one thing, but having my grandchildren over there is heartbreaking. It is very tough. I don't know what to say, because there is no solution. And because whatever I'm going to do, like, there is no, if I start thinking about that, that could be something that upsets me. Because it's time goes by and you cannot get it back. And so maybe also one of the things that I really don't like is the idea that I cannot help my children. So like, I'm not there for them. And that's not even true, because they would totally disagree with what I'm saying, because they feel like I'm doing a good job, and they constantly tell me, Mom, you're fine, don't worry. But I feel like I let them down. Like, like say there's like a vacation period, and they need to work, and they need to find somebody to take care of their kids. I can never do my share.
Yeah.
And so I really don't like that. On the other hand, I was there every time the babies were born. And I go to their house, and then I stay with the other kids, and I do what I have to do as a mother, but it is very limited. And so I think if for everything, that's probably my biggest struggle. The idea that I cannot be there with my children, with the babies, being there. And again, thank God for FaceTime, because I play with the dolls with my granddaughter. She knows exactly. So we put the phone, and then she says to me, Oma. And then I have to take the dolls out of the closet, because she knows, because they all visited, so they know my house. And then I have to take the dolls out of the closet and put them on the couch. And then she tells me what to do. Well, now you have to feed them, Oma. You have to put them to sleep. So one day this is a funny story. I have to tell you that. So one day she says, this doll, all dolls have a name, and I had to put her to sleep. But this doll, her eyes don't close. So if you put her down, the eyes stay open. And she became so frustrated. She says, Oma, she's not sleeping. Her eyes are open. You have to say to her, she needs to sleep. So the eyes don't go down. So my daughter in the back, she's like laughing, and I'm like frustrated because she gets so like annoyed with me. Oh my, you don't do a good job. She's not sleeping. You have to do something. So my daughter says, "Why don't you just put the cover on top of her head and you just tell her now she's sleeping?" So I put the cover on top of the head. She says, "Now she's sleeping," and I saw her coming down, and it was okay. Well, you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
And they call you Oma as well.
Oma. So, you know,
is,
that's what they speak Dutch to me.
yeah.
And so, but I also speak English with them because I think it's, and of course, Grandpa, my husband, who's Grandpa, only speaks English after 10 years. He speaks a couple of words, but it's pathetic, but okay. So he speaks English with the kids, and it's very, very interesting because they understand everything. They don't speak it necessarily, although they know a lot of words, but it's not, they will say it in Dutch, but when he speaks to them or when I speak in English, they understand everything.
Oh, that's great.
It's very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
And they will probably pick it up more quicker when they get English at school. So
100%. Now they do. The world is so like such an open spot. They have their iPads and they play Dora games with English, and they do all that stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. Time flies at the moment.
Well, that's what happens when you're fun. I hope I'm like not too boring, but we'll
no, it's
words from our listeners. What happened?
Yeah. No, but we shouldn't forget that besides the dentistry practices and the your being a mother and a grandmother, you are also, I couldn't understand if it was a work in progress or that you already are busy with something for yourself, let's call it that way.
Yeah.
So and well, I would love it to hear more about it. So please tell us a bit about it.
Also, like if you look back in my history, I was always very interested in how your mind, how your thoughts create your reality. So I am one of those. When I was 16, 17 years old, I was already reading the books of Louisa Hay with all the affirmations that she uses, and it was very intriguing to me my whole life. That's why I was also studying Kabbalah, because I'm interested in what you can't see with your eyes, or the things that the five senses don't pick up. That it like very intrigued about the world around us, and like the mystical things of life. So I'm always very intrigued. So I truly believe that words have power, and that's how I raised my kids. Like they have to be careful what comes out of their mouth. It's like one of my teachers always told me, like, it's more important what comes out of your mouth than what you put in your mouth. And I like that, because you see, it is the way your mind works, your thoughts, what comes out of your mouth, the way you speak, has a very big influence on your life. And the older I get, the more I realize how true that is. So if I look back, and so I was working with vision boards, and I would work, now I make mind movies, which are, it's an amazing tool to create your life. And so now there's also way more science behind it. So I started to look into the whole mindful movement, or how your brain is operating. And I'm not like, when things become too complicated, you lose me. Not that I don't understand it, but I can't, like, I'm not a scientist, so I don't talk about, like, I am a practical person. I don't care about I don't care about, like, how is my cell phone working? I don't care about. What I do care about is what I can do with it, how practical it is. What does it mean to me, my cell phone? So all this stuff that you can learn from how your brain works, or how and it started also, I also use it in our dental practice. How do you get people to accept dental treatment? It's a psychological thing, way more than people think. It's the money, or it's they're scared. It's like, how can you make people understand that this is what they need, you know? So there's a whole brain shift that you have to go into. So because of all those things, like if you take all those things, my whole past and what I did, and the meditation evenings that I had, like, it's a whole life experience. I am putting it now into a form that I would love to help people, making it go faster than what I did. It's like 30 years, and like, I'm pretty convinced that the way I created my life, if you look at your life, this is exactly what you created yourself. Nobody did that for you. It's not your mother or your father that treated you a certain way. It's your reaction to it. It's like you created your life the way it is today. And a lot of people are complaining, and they say, oh, I don't want to be where I am right now, because they don't like what they see, and they don't like the person that looks at them in the mirror. And they have all these little things going on. And it doesn't have to be that way. You can take control because of the fact that your thoughts create your reality. You're also in charge, and you can also change your thoughts. So a lot of people in this time, because we're now already 2020 almost, we are very smart. We have a lot of knowledge. We can Google everything. But knowledge is not key anymore. Knowledge was king for like a long time. But today, knowledge is available to everybody, because you can just Google it, and there it is, all the knowledge in the world. So who is king now? The one who practices the knowledge, the one who implements the knowledge, because it's nice to have the knowledge, but what does it do to you? So that's what I'm saying. What does my cell phone do to me? What is my knowledge about my brain, about my thoughts? What does it do for me? So if I look at my life today and I realized, oh my God, I created this. What are the little things or the big things that I would like to change? How am I thinking about that? Okay, is this what I want for the rest of my life, or do I want to change it? And if I want to change it, how am I going to change it? So then you need to know, it's not only enough to know, it's you need to know how to make it practical. So that's what I'm working on. So I'm creating this program. I'm almost ready to launch, that is going to help people understand how they can rewire their brain in easy. And I'm saying it's easy. I shouldn't even say that. I should say it's simple, but it's not easy. It asks you to practice, and especially when you're like our age, you have a past of thoughts, like 55 years of thoughts. I'm not going to change that. And they created where I am today. I'm not going to be able to just think about that and shift the whole thing and change my thinking. Once you start to become aware of what you're thinking, you're going to be so surprised. People don't understand. It's like unbelievable. If you become aware, and there are tools to be aware and tools to help you to understand what you're thinking, because we have 70,000, an average of 70,000 thoughts per day. Can you imagine? 70,000 thoughts per day. Those 70,000 thoughts create your reality. I think if you have a couple of thoughts a day that you're aware of, can you imagine all those things that you're not aware of? They create your reality.
Yeah.
And so it's a big thing. If you want to change something in your life,
You realize that.
You have to realize that it is you in your brain that has to change, because if you're going to have the same thoughts, you're going to create the same reality, and that's it. That's just how it is. So just having an intention to change is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do something about it.
Yeah.
Active.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter whether you are 55 or 65 or 75. You can still realize it and working on a step-by-step program like that.
Yeah. So one of the things that I discovered is that I was, like I said, I was working with visualizations from when I was 16 years old. And I'm pretty good in manifesting what I want to have and visualize it. And yeah, it's part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I visualized myself a pretty good life, but I missed something. And I only realized that very recently, like a year ago, I think, because I was miserable. And I live if you would look at my life, I live in a wonderful environment. I live in one of the top places around Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
I live in horse country. There are more horses on my street than people. It's beautiful. I have a wonderful house. We have the pool, we have the house, I have the vacations. I live a life of luxury. I'm beyond my expectations. And I was miserable. So what made me miserable? Why? So I discovered why, and it was so different than what I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the missing piece in my life. And I see a lot of people around me living the same life that I had, and I am determined to help them. And I want to just scream it almost, guys, you can change it. It's so simple.
Yeah.
So simple. Let me help you figure out what I figured out for myself. And your life is going to be, you don't have to change anything on the outside. People think when I have the car, I'm going to be happy. When I find the love of my life, I'm going to be happy. When I have this, I'm going to be happy. I promise you, I have it all. And I wasn't happy. It was so different than what I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
And just that realization changed everything for me. Nothing in my environment changed. Nothing. I still have the same nasty people around me on some levels, and I have the same job that I don't want to commute an hour and a half going in. I commute 3 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes that. So there are many things that I can say I'm not happy about, but that's not the point. It's not what it is about. So it's too much to explain right now. But again, if people are interested, I'm here and happy to, and I have and I can figure it out in a couple of minutes if I can help you, yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
I have calls, I have a whole calendar where people can get me on the phone and to see if there's anything I can do to help them, because I really am on a mission. I just feel like this is my how do you say that, my superpower. My superpower, and I'm ready to share, and that's a big thing for me. If you would have said this a year ago, you're gonna tell people that you have a superpower, I would have crawled under the desk. I would have crawled under the desk of shame that I would say that there is something I'm good at. But you know what? I am good at this.
Yeah. You made a PDF. That's a big start for people to have a look at, isn't it?
So
if our call is over, we are already talking for 40 minutes. I wanted it to last half an hour, so I'm closing it off for now. But please, after this call is over, send me all the links where people can reach out to you. a link to the PDF maybe, and I'll put it in the description box that goes with this this video, because I really think that you have something valuable to share. So I would really hope that, yeah, that people.
One thing I would like to share. So I am going to launch my Facebook group, Mind Hacks, this weekend.
Okay.
And a lot of people already, like special guests in there, that were willing to share their stuff in my group. So my group is made for people who want to know more about this and share their stuff in a closed environment, in a safe environment, where they will get tips and tricks on how to do this, and they can see if this is something for them. So it's just a free Facebook group. We will put the link also, and it's going to open up this weekend.
Okay, and I'll share the link then.
Perfect.
So, I hope that a lot of people will join you.
Me too. One step at a time. I will visualize it again. Don't worry, I'll make it work.
Very good. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It was a really interesting.
Honor. I am the one who's honored to be your guest. I promise you. I'm very honored. I thank you for the time you gave me to speak. I really thank you for that.
Okay, very good. So, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.